Hello students, so we are continuing with the practical on array programs. So in today's practical programs, we'll be discussing two programs on arrays. One is the linear search and the other one is the bubble sort. So we've already come across these two programs. The first one is the linear search program, which I've already explained to you, but for your practical you need to go through this also once more. So here the program to input an array num with 5 different integer values and search for a particular value and its position in the array. So the name of the array is num, so which will store integer values, which is 5 different integer random values. Alright, and then after that, after entering the integer values, 5 different values, then you have to search for a particular value from that array element and then find the position of that value where it is stored in the array element. Alright, so this is the program, and here is the try run method, the table structure, so that you can understand the process, and here is the output. Right, so uh, as since the as in the program question, the name of the array is num, so here we are declaring an integer array num of index 5, the subscript 5, which will create 5 array elements, that is num0, num1, num2, num3, num4. So here we use I, since whenever we use array, we use the for loop, the loop construct. So here position is assigned the value 0, as you can see that here yes, you don't need to assign the value 0 here, but since here you can see that in the formula the variable position is used to store the value. So here the variable value means the random value which you are going to search. So here and from the as the variables are declared, a prompt will be issued from the monitor screen, that is enter 5 random integer values. So using the for loop, inside the for loop, from the keyboard, when you're entering the numbers, suppose like here 12, 15, 7, 75, 50, so in the array element will be automatically created by the compiler. So when I equals to 0, I is less than 5, so because we know that we have to enter only 5 integer values, so because of that here the I is less than 5. Right, so that means the loop will continue 5 times starting from 0, and since it starts with 0, so here it is less than, but if it starts with 1, it will be less than equal to. But we know that an array index always starts um, with 0, so that's why here I is equal to 0. So see in num0, that means in num0 you will enter the value 12. Again I will get incremented by 1, and then num1 will store 15, num2 will store 7. So the random values, as you can see, that they are not in sorted format. Right, they are neither in ascending nor in descending order. So after you assign the values, the next step is to search for a particular value. So now you have to enter that search value. So a prompt is given to the monitor screen using the C output stream. Enter the search value, and then that value is stored in this variable value. So when you enter from the keyboard, suppose like enter a search value 75. Now that value must be compared with all the 5 different integer numbers that has been assigned to the array elements, right? So now we have to compare that value with each of the that particular value which each of the data values which is assigned in the array element. So here, so the for that purpose the for loop is again used. So here in the inside the for loop, the body of the for loop, if value, so value is here is 75. 75 equals to, so using the relational operator, a comparison is being made. Is the left expression equals to the right expression, right? If it is true, then the body of the if block will be executed. So value of 75 equals to num I. Num I means num 0. So what is stored in array element num 0, which is 12? So 75 equals to 12. It's false. So what will happen is that this body of block will not be executed. So you can see that in this dry run method that the body of this is not executed. Similarly, I will get incremented, and then again the value 75 will be compared with num1. So num1 is 15. So as you can see that in the table, the position equals to I plus 1 is not executed. So this will keep on going till uh, till we get the value 75. That is, I becomes 3, right? So 3 is less than 5, which is true. Then in array element number 3, the value 75 is stored. So value which is 75 equals to num3, which is 75. So when that value is so when this expression turns out to be true, then position equals to I plus 1. So I is 3 plus 1. So here this will be executed, so you'll get the position as 4, right? So the position as 4, which means that here you can see that as per the array element, as per the index, it is 3 because it starts with 0 1 2 3. But when we have to find the actual position of that particular array, that particular value, we can, if we count from here 1 2 3 4, so it comes out 4. So that's why here it is written I plus 1. If we just write down here I and not plus 1, so it will come out number 3, which in terms of the output, it is not the correct position, right? So number 3 will come here. So that's why we write here I plus 1. So when we run this, search value, the string, and then value, which is 75, position is 4, right? So so this is using the linear search. In linear search method, what happened is that uh, the array elements, the data stored in the array elements are in random order, right? Are not sorted, and whenever you have to search for the datas in the array element, okay, of small numbers or unsorted format, then we use this linear search. In linear search, what happens is that starting from the first array element till the last array element, the search continues till that particular value is found. All right, so it jumps from one array element to the other array element in consecutive manner. All right, now the next one is Pupple sort. So here, program to enter any number of numbers in array and arrange all the elements in ascending order using Pupple sort method. So now, as you can see that using the Pupple sort method, all right, we are able to arrange the uh, data value inside the array element in sorted format, that is either in ascending order or in descending order. Now in the previous program, the data in the array were unsorted, right? But we just had to find for a particular value. We just had to search for a particular value. Now in the case of this Pupple sort method, like I said, we have to arrange the data that is stored in the uh, array element in either ascending order or in descending order. So in this case, we are arranging it in ascending order. As you can see that here the data values that is assigned is 40, 55, and 34. So when the output is generated, it will be 34, 40, and 55. So it comes out sorted in ascending order. So now, based on that, we are declaring the array item of integer type of size index 100. Now it is not necessary that all of these index will be used up, the subscript will be used up, because according to this it will generate 100 array elements. That means 100 variables to store 100 values, right? But depending on the program, how you may want to use uh, how uh, how many array elements you may want to create. So here in this particular output, you can see that um, only three array elements are created, that is item 0, item 1, item 2, because here how many numbers to sort, and in here the data values is entered is 3. So if the data value entered is 3, so we are entering 3 values, so that variable num will be used in the for loop to stop the for loop. Okay, so to come out of the for loop. So that's why here you can see that in the for loop, after the command prompt, enter the elements into the array. For I equals to 0, I is less than num, right? So if we write here a different number, then it will not match with the numbers you want to sort. So if suppose you write here 5, but here you write the number to sort is 3, so that means in the for loop will accept 5 values, but you want to sort only 3 values, right? So that's why this variable num is used in the for loop to stop the for loop, right? So now enter the elements into the array. So you can see that here we are using nested for loop, because now we are using the concept of the swapping method. We are so here we are comparing one array element, data element, with the second data element. So we are comparing one to the other, right? So in that case we need a third variable, that is this temp variable, right? So since we are using two for loops, that is inner for loop and outer for loop, so two counter variables are used, that is I and j, right? So now after the value has been entered here in the outer for loop, right, in the outer for loop, so in the body of the so after the value has been entered here, so you can see that in this nested for loop, right, the body of the outer for loop contains the inner for loop, right? So here I equals to 0, I is less than num minus 1. Here it is written here num minus 1 because uh, we as the loop continues, we will have one less number to uh, check, right? So that's why it is written here num minus 1, because if we write here I is less than num, then it will exit more than the 3 values. It will exit more than 3 values and it will check 4 values. That's why here the first array element, that is item 0, once it is compared in the inside the inner for loop, okay, so we will have only two more uh, values to be checked. That's why here it is num minus 1, which is 3 minus 1 2, right? But in the case of the inner for loop, you can see that j starts with I plus 1, which j does not start with 0. Now we know that the array element index always starts with 0, but now here if you see in this output, the first array element stores the value 40, that is in here item I, that is item 0. After I gets incremented, item 1 will store 55, right? And then item 2 will store 34, item 3 will store a different number. So we have to compare the array element stored in index 0 with index 1, like that, right? So for that reason here j is given as I plus 1, which is 0 plus 1 1, because if we assign j equals to 0, then we are comparing item 0 with item 0 only, right? So that's why here j is given as 1. So 1 is less than 3, right? So again, inside the inner for loop body, inside the body of the inner for loop, as you can see, this is the body of the inner for loop, an if block is executed. So since the if test expression will be executed only once, but we based on this condition, the body of this the body of this if block will be executed. So we need the if block to execute again and again. So for that reason, it is written inside the for loop, right? So if item I is greater than item j, which is item I is item 0 is greater than item 1, so 40 is greater than 55, no, right? So if it is no, this body of the if block will not be executed. Then after that, as long as this j is less than num, this test condition is true, j will get incremented, and then the body of this inner for loop will keep on executing. Once this j is less than num becomes false, then it will go to the outer for loop, and then I will get incremented again. The test condition will run. After that, the body of the outer for loop will again execute, which means that the inner for loop will start the test condition. All right, so based on that, all right, if suppose I gets incremented again, all right, or here j gets incremented again, so j becomes 2. 2 is less than 3, which is true, right? So again here item I, so now the same value is compared. 40 is greater than item j, which is 34, right? So 40 is greater than 34, so which is true. So now temp equals to item j, which is item j value is 32. 32 gets stored in temp, then item j will store the value of item I will store the value of, sorry, temp will store the value of item I, which is 40. So 40 will be stored in temp. So now item j, which is 32, will be stored in item I, which is item 0. So now 32 gets stored in the first array element, that is item 0, and then temp, which stores the value 40, will get transferred to item j, that is item 2, that is here, right? So as you can see that in this test, inside the inner for loop, what happens is that the first array element gets sorted out with in ascending order. All right, so this, so as long as this test condition gets true, it will get executed. So once it becomes false, what will happen is that all the errors will get sorted out in ascending order, and then finally you run the output sorted elements are. Right. So in order to understand more, this try run method, go through this once more, okay, and then follow the direction of the arrow so that you will understand. Clear? So this is important for you to understand the concept. Okay, so now let's see how this program runs. So I've already typed this program. So now the program is for the linear search to find the position. So when we run this program, okay, all right, so now when we run this program, so now enter 5 random integer values. So 5 random integer values. So now let's say I enter 1, then 3, then 2, then 7, then 4. So now 5 random integer values are entered. After that, again a prompt message comes out, enter the search value. Now you want to search for, let's say that the value 2. So now search value to position is 3. So you can see that if you start counting 1, 2, 3, right? So that way you're getting the correct output. Now if, like I said, if you remove this, then you will not get, suppose like this. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're searching for 2. So you can see that number 2 is the number 2 position is 1, which when actually it is at second position, right? So for that reason, this here, that +1 is needed here. All right. So similarly, if you change the value of this 0 to 1, you get a different output. If you change this to less than equal to 5, then you'll not get the correct output in such case, right? So this is how you find the or let's say that, suppose like we enter yeah, we're supposed to enter random values, but let's say the one, we enter one, and then two, two, uh, three, four. Now in that case you can see that two here, the program has been configured in such a way that it can detect only one number, right? So here it will give only one output, that is either 2 or 3, right? So in the case of this one, it gives the value 3 because we have not written the program to detect two integer numbers of the two same integer numbers and its position, right? So for that we have to write down a different program, okay? So which is not here in this textbook. All right, so for that reason the program asks to enter 5 random integer values, not same number of integer values. All right, now using the bubble sort method, so here again when we run this program, how many numbers do you want to sort? So suppose we write here 5, then enter the elements into the array. So we write random numbers 12, suppose like um, 5, so 34, 23, and 54. So now you can see that the elements are sorted in ascending order, right? Now again when we run this program and say like 5, so now I write 12, then I write 54, then 5, again I write 12, and then let's say I write 3. Now you can see that the elements are sorted in ascending order, but here you can see that the number 12 is repeated twice, but yet it comes out correctly. Alright, so that is what sorting does. But this number 12, of course, it comes one after the other. However, since there are two different integer values, though the numbers are same, but a variable will store only one value, right? So this will be stored in the third array element, and this will be stored in the fourth array element. All right. So in terms of the position, it will change even though the values are same, yet in terms of the position it will be number 3 and number 4 because the array elements are different. All right, so type out this program, run this program, okay, and then see make some changes in the program and see what different outputs you're getting. All right.